kids, this is Bob the Tomato, and I'm going to read you the story of LarryBoy and the Fib from Outer Space. Now, all you have to do is turn the page whenever you hear this sound. Okay, here goes. It was midnight at the Bumbleberg Science Lab, and Jimmy Gord was bored. "I'm bored," he said. He and his brother Jerry were supposed to stay up every night to see if anything fell into Bumbleberg from outer space. After 2 years of watching, they hadn't seen anything. "Nothing," he said. But Jimmy wasn't paying attention. Getting bigger and bigger on Jerry's screen was a weird glowing object. It was headed straight towards Bumbleberg. Jerry tried to tell Jimmy, but he was too scared to talk. Finally, Jimmy noticed. His eyes widened. His heart raced. There was only one person to call now, Bumbleberg's own superhero, LarryBoy. On top of the Bumbleberg police station, the Larry signal crackled to life and shot a beam of lights into the sky. Elsewhere in the city, LarryBoy's trusted butler Alfred spotted the signal and hurried to alert his heroic friend.
"Master Larry! Excuse me, Master Larry!"
he yelled. "Yes, Alfred," LarryBoy answered, accidentally knocking his friend to the ground with a mighty plunger ear. Then he too spotted the Larry signal.
"No time now, Alfred. Duty calls."
LarryBoy hurried down to the Larry cave, jumped into his supercar, the Larrymobile, and sped off into the night. Meanwhile, in the quiet neighborhood where Junior Asparagus lived, a small glowing object bounced down the middle of the street. It had a face. A tiny little space alien had landed in front of Junior's house. The next day, Laura the Carrot and Junior Asparagus were playing at Junior's house.
"The tea party is almost ready,"
she said.
"We just need one more plate for Mr. Snuggly."
Junior said they could use his dad's favorite bowling plate, the one he kept way up on the top shelf in the living room.
"That looks like a very special plate,"
Laura commented, but Junior thought it was a great idea.
"I'm sure my dad won't mind."
As Laura watched nervously, Junior climbed up the cabinet. Suddenly, the cabinet started swaying. Junior tried to steady it, but a book fell over on the top shelf, knocking the plate off the edge. Laura and Junior watched in horror as the plate fell to the floor and broke into a million pieces.
"I gotta go,"
Laura said as she ran out the front door. Junior didn't know what to do. His dad would be home soon, and boy, would he be mad. Then a voice said,
"Hey, kid, looks like you got a problem."
"Huh? Who said that?"
Junior asked. Out from nowhere hopped the strangest little creature Junior had ever seen.
"The name is Fibrilius Minimus,"
The creature replied.
"but you can call me Fib."
Fib told Junior that he didn't have to get in trouble for breaking the plate. All he had to do was make up a story about someone else breaking the plate.
"You mean you want me to lie?"
Junior asked.
No.
Fib replied.
What we are talking about here is just a little fib. People do it all the time, trust me. A little fib couldn't hurt anybody.
Junior wasn't sure he could trust Fib, but he didn't have any better ideas. So when his dad came home, he told him that Laura had broken the plate. And sure enough, it worked. His dad believed him, and Junior didn't get in trouble.
You did it! Good work, kid!
Fib yelled. Junior was glad to be out of trouble, but was it just his imagination, or was Fib getting bigger?
"Have you grown?"
Junior asked.
Oh, no, I've always been this size.
Answered Fib.
Come on, kid, let's go have some more fun.
Maybe his new friend was right. Maybe a little Fib couldn't hurt anyone.
"Alrighty!"
He yelled as they hopped away down the street together.
"I'm with you all the way, Fib."
Meanwhile, LarryBoy was driving all over Bumbleberg, searching for anything that looked like it came from outer space.
"Keep looking, Master Larry.
Alfred yelled over the radio in the Larrymobile.
Remember, the security of Bumbleberg rests in your plungers."
Just then, Percy P. spotted his friend Junior. but he wasn't very happy to see him.
Junior,
He yelled.
I just came from Laura's house, and she got in trouble for breaking your dad's bowling plate. Except she says she didn't break it. She says you did. Who's telling the truth?
Junior looked down nervously. Then he remembered what his new friend had told him and decided to make up another story. This time, he said that Laura's little brother Lenny broke the plate. And once again, the fib worked.
Whoa.
Percy mumbled as he walked away.
I didn't think Lenny was capable of that kind of violence. This is great. It worked again, Fib.
Junior yelled, but when he turned toward his friend, he found himself staring into Fib's belly. Fib was now 6 feet tall.
You are growing.
Junior remarked.
Maybe I put on a few pounds,
Said Fib.
but Junior, I will always be your little fib.
Just then, Percy P hopped back around the corner with Laura the carrot and her little brother Lenny. Junior was glad to see his friends, but he could tell they were not glad to see him.
If you need me, I'll be over here.
Fib whispered as he disappeared into the alley. Junior's friends were angry. Laura was mad that Junior lied about her. Lenny was mad that he lied about him. And Percy was mad that Junior had lied about both his friends. They told Junior that these weren't little lies, they were whoppers. One more time, Junior tried to get out of trouble by making up a story. This time he said that space aliens had broken the plate.
Funny, I just saw that same thing happen in a movie.
Percy yelled.
It's another lie.
Just then, they heard the sound of giant footsteps in the alley. Junior turned around just in time to see Fib step into the street. He was as tall as a building. Fib reached down with a huge hand and plucked Junior off the sidewalk.
What are you doing?
Junior asked.
Don't worry, Junior.
Fib replied.
A little fib couldn't hurt anybody, right?
Fib laughed wildly and stomped off down the street, taking Junior with him.
Why are you doing this to me? I thought you were my friend.
Junior cried out.
That's the thing about fibs, Junior.
The monster bellowed.
We grow. Now that I'm big, it's my turn to call the shots, and you belong to me.
Just then, the LarryMobile spun around the corner.
Drop the asparagus!
Yelled our plunger-headed hero. The monster turned and headed for the Bumbleberg water tower. Surely LarryBoy could never get him up there. As Fib carried Junior up the tower, Alfred told LarryBoy he had made some changes to the LarryMobile that might help.
You have?
LarryBoy asked.
I like to tinker in my spare time.
Alfred said. Alfred had LarryBoy drive straight at the water tower as fast as he could. Just as he was about to run out of road, LarryBoy pushed a button and wings popped out of the LarryMobile. It was now the Larry plane.
So this is what you do in your spare time.
LarryBoy remarked as he soared into the sky. Meanwhile, on the water tower, things weren't going very well.
Even a little lie can get really big, really fast.
The monster yelled.
And a big lie can just swallow you up. And Junior, you made a really big lie.
Junior's friend was really a big lie. But was the lie really going to swallow him? LarryBoy knew he had to act fast, so heading straight for the monster, he jumped out of the plane. The lie was ready, though, and caught him in a huge hand. Now he had Junior and LarryBoy. LarryBoy called Alfred on his belt radio.
I think now would be a good time for you to tell me how I can stop this lie.
He said. Alfred checked the computer.
According to my calculations,
He answered.
you can do nothing.
LarryBoy couldn't believe his ears.
Nothing?
He yelled. They were in big trouble. If LarryBoy couldn't stop the lie, they'd be eaten for sure.
Which one of you guys should I eat first?
The lie bellowed. Just then, LarryBoy's radio crackled to life.
I've made a discovery.
Alfred shouted.
You cannot stop the lie, but someone else can.
What? Who? LarryBoy asked. But Alfred didn't know yet. His computer was still working on it.
You sort of look like candy.
The monster rumbled and lifted LarryBoy toward his huge mouth.
Alfred!
Screamed our hero.
We have no time!
It's mistaken!
Alfred yelled back as the computer began drawing a picture. The answer was coming. But was it too late? Larry Boy was almost in the lie's mouth.
Goodbye, Bubbly Bird!
He moaned. Back in the Larry cave, Alfred stared at the screen. His eyes widened. It was Junior. He yelled into the radio.
Junior can stop the lie!
Junior thought hard. How could he stop the lie? Then it came to him.
I did it!
He screamed.
I broke the plate!
Suddenly, the monster started shrinking like a leaky balloon. The more Junior confessed, the more the lie shrunk. With the final pop, the lie vanished completely.
I'm really sorry about your plate.
Junior told his dad as Larry Boy lowered him to the ground.
I'm sure it was an accident.
His father said.
I just wish you would have told me right away.
Junior said he had learned that even though telling the truth isn't always the easiest way, it is always the best way. Elsewhere in the city, another fib landed in another neighborhood, looking for someone to help him grow.